One moment, they were everywhere, bickering on sofas, fighting over chicken nuggets, gatekeeping Moldovan customs, flexing parenting advice no one asked for. And then, poof, gone. No farewell episode, no spin-off promo, not even a messy exit montage. Just completely erased. Andrei and Libby didn't just leave the 90-Day Fiancé universe. They vanished like they never existed. This isn't your usual cast break. Fans have seen couples implode on stage and still score another season. We've watched people commit full-blown criminal offenses and pop back up in the next happily ever after. But when TLC ghosts someone with zero explanation, you know it's not personal. It's professional. Something contractual, possibly legal. And when whispers of a $1 million dispute started bubbling up behind the curtain, the silence got louder than ever. Welcome to Reality Sport. I'm Aliva, and if you're already side-eyeing this disappearance, smash that subscribe button and drop your wildest theory in the comments. Because what I'm about to walk you through, it's bigger than Andrei's ego and messier than Chuck's BBQ blowouts. Let's look at the obvious first. This couple was a ratings magnet. Love them or love to hate them? They delivered exactly the kind of chaos 90 Day was built on. In-laws at war, cultural clashes, relentless flexing of masculinity, and a toddler at the center of it all. They had spin-off potential. They had drama baked into every scene. So why would a network, especially one that thrives on dysfunction, let that cash cow walk? Spoiler, they didn't. Because according to leaks from production insiders and the obsessive deep dives of online fan sleuths, this exit wasn't voluntary. It wasn't creative. And it definitely wasn't planned in advance. It looks more like a forced disengagement, hushed, fast, and bound by silence. Rewind to their last public appearances. Libby was soft-pitching a new image, all curated lighting and mommy vlogger vibes. Andrei was quieter than usual on social. No cast parties, no crossovers, no sweet goodbye posts with TLC credits in the caption. Just static. Like someone hit mute on their franchise contract. Not one reunion invite. Not one, where are they now? That is not normal. And that's exactly when the rumors started. Contract breaches. Alleged production misconduct. A behind-the-scenes breakdown so severe, lawyers had to get involved. A few accounts even claimed TLC calculated their losses from delayed filming, disrupted schedules, breached location agreements, and rounded that number to 7 figures. $1 million tab. Allegedly. Now, before we throw words like lawsuit around too lightly, there's a reason no court case has ever been officially confirmed. Reality stars sign airtight NDAs. And if someone truly blew up the filming environment, networks don't go public. They go silent. Quiet removals with legal padding. No need for damage control if you erase the evidence first. And that's exactly what this looks like. Because Andrei wasn't just a strong personality. He was a constant, escalating point of friction. Not just with cast. Allegedly with crew. Behind the camera, the stakes are different. You're not shooting a scene. You're on someone's clock. Every extra hour costs money. Every argument adds risk. And if one person controls the chaos, they also control the threat. But if TLC really wanted them gone, what broke the trust that badly? From day one, Andrei didn't just walk into 90 Day Fiancé. He barged in like he already owned the place. The man treated marriage not like a partnership, but a one-man show with Libby as the designated audience. Every conversation was a showdown. Every disagreement, a test of dominance. And somehow, every single conflict, no matter how big or small, magically became someone else's fault. Never his, not once. Some fans thought it was cultural, that Moldovan alpha male energy. Others called it passion. But as the seasons piled up, so did the red flags. Andrei didn't evolve. He doubled down. By the time he started threatening to walk out of family businesses, he never helped build. People stopped viewing him as just a strong personality and started clocking the control issues creeping into every scene. Remember the Chuck real estate arc? The one where Andrei showed up asking for a job, managed to offend every potential colleague in the first 10 minutes, then spent the rest of the season acting like he was entitled to inherit the company? He framed hard work like an insult, accountability like betrayal. You tell me, how does someone walk into another man's business and act like he's being disrespected? He bulldozed over Libby's siblings, guilt-tripped Chuck into making him a partner, and when questioned, deflected every time. Because obviously it was always jealousy or disrespect. Never strategy, never manipulation. Always the victim, never self-aware. And his parenting bits? Selective at best. Talked big about being the head of the family, but when it came to tantrums or tough decisions, he conveniently vanished behind Libby or sulked in the corner. Classic tough guy on camera, avoid the real work off-camera behavior. Even in interviews, he dismissed Libby's opinions. Shut her down mid-sentence, rolled his eyes, and smiled like it was charming. It wasn't. At first, people gave him leeway. Fish out of water awkwardness, cultural adjustments. But over time, even die-hard fans struggled to justify the pattern. The confrontations kept escalating, and so did the public's discomfort. What felt like reality, TV chaos started looking more like a slow-motion implosion of boundaries. It reached a point where Andrei moment became code for unnecessary male aggression dressed up as confidence. But here's where it gets twisted. TLC didn't cut ties when Andrei was being Andrei. They aired every power play, beef, and eyebrow raise. They built storylines around his stubbornness. So whatever made the network finally hit mute, it had to be worse than what aired. Something they couldn't spin, couldn't save and post. Because when you've got a producer-favorite couple bringing drama every season and suddenly they're scrubbed, you have to ask the question, but what if what we saw wasn't the half of it? Reality TV might feel messy and unscripted, but the contracts running it are airtight. We're talking ironclad legal agreements with more rules than Chuck's family dinner table and a lot fewer second chances. Once you sign on, you're not just joining a show. You're joining a system built to protect the network long before it ever protects you. First, there's the exclusivity. Cast members can't take outside brand deals or appear on other networks during filming. Your face and drama belongs to them. Post on social during certain blocked dates? That's a violation. Promote your own business too loud during an air date window? That's another one. Most people think reality stars have freedom once filming wraps. They don't. They're owned, even off-screen. Then come the moral clauses. Any behavior that could make the network look bad, cost them advertisers, or turn off the audience? That's a risk TLC plans for in black and white. If you get into a fight with a producer, disrupt shooting, show up late repeatedly, cause conflict with location owners, or even engage in hostile behavior, they reserve the right to fine you, or worse, drop you. And if they feel that disruption costs them more than just inconvenience, multiply that fine by whatever it took to rebook locations, reschedule crews, or pause production. Spoiler, it adds up fast. Like 6 figures fast. Now here's where it gets close to the Andrei and Libby story. When filming halts for even a day due to personality issues, travel blowups, or behind-the-scenes aggression, it's expensive. Every lost hour burns money, crew overtime, location fees, flights, childcare, insurance reports. 1 week of chaos could cost tens of thousands of dollars. Multiply that by multiple incidents, delays, hotel issues like fans whispered about online. And maybe a cold silence about lawsuits starts to sound a little warmer. Because if producers had to start documenting repeated disruptions, or if they reached out to legal because incident reports kept stacking up, it wouldn't just be about bad behavior. It'd be about liability. Now, fans on Reddit and reality gossip threads have thrown around that $1 million number. No court docs, no receipts. Legally, there's nothing confirmed. But behind the scenes of unscripted TV, breach penalties do exist. Contracts often include liquidated damages clauses, meaning if you cost the production money outside normal budget variance, they can come for you. Quietly. Arbitrated. No headlines, just invoices. So when people say TLC ghosted the couple without explanation, it's not just PR strategy. It might be risk management, lawsuit avoidance, reputation control. Because if a network believes your off-camera behavior jeopardizes their schedule or financials, not their ratings, they'll cut you faster than a reunion mic check. And if the rumors are half true, Andrei didn't just cross the line, he stomped on it. On TV, the chaos ends when the episode fades to black. But for the crew behind the scenes, it often begins after the cameras shut off. And that's where the Andrei and Libby story takes a darker turn. Because the most explosive fights rarely happen in front of rolling lenses. They happen when no one's watching. Or at least, when no one's supposed to. Quiet whispers started circulating from people linked to production. Not official sources, not verified. But the kind of stories that start with, "I'm not supposed to say this," but it wasn't about staged arguments or scripted drama. It was about unplanned, ugly moments that pushed days off schedule and tension through the roof. There's one rumor that keeps resurfacing. Something went down at a hotel while filming one of their final scenes. Some crew members allegedly had to intervene. People close to production described it as an incident, not a couple fight, not reality TV antics. A genuine event that made producers rethink logistics. There's no footage, no statement. But that kind of chain reaction, forced hotel checkouts, missing call times, sudden set relocations, doesn't happen unless something shook the team. Andrei has always thrived on confrontation. He flipped every emotional table he could find, pretending it was honesty when most people saw control. But contained drama on screen is one thing. When that energy spills into call sheets and conflicts with crew, that's not story, it's a liability. And production doesn't play favorites when time becomes money. Producers are trained to manage strong personalities. They know how to script delays, redirect tension, and build entire seasons off discomfort. But there's a limit. When camera operators start filing complaints or location managers threaten to cancel agreements, the vibe changes. Drama becomes disruption. Ego becomes exposure. There's a reason some shows rotate cast members even if they're pulling high ratings. It's not about the audience, it's about control. Behind every scene is a timeline, a budget spreadsheet, and a long chain of insurance protocols. If any of those get compromised, the contract you signed stops being a paycheck and becomes a problem. By the time Andrei and Libby disappeared from the franchise, people familiar with how reality shows operate started connecting the dots. The increased crew oversight, shorter filming windows, the sudden ban on behind-the-scenes selfies, and finally, the full blackout. This wasn't someone stepping away from the public eye. This looked like a shut-off valve turning hard, fast, and all the way. Because fake fights get airtime, real ones get deleted. Was it story drama? Or was production scared? Libby was never the loudest one in the room, at least not on her own. That role usually went to Andrei, booming voice, sharp elbows, constant need to compete. But if you go back and really watch her scenes, you'll notice something. She always knew how to redirect. Smile through tension, diffuse blow-ups with a soft voice, keep things moving when things got too hot. From day one, Elizabeth wasn't just playing the sweet daughter or patient wife. She was managing the temperature of the room. And lately, she's been colder, not rude, not aggressive, just calculated, polished, picture perfect in every post. Once a regular face in franchise spin-offs and Pillow Talk segments, Libby went from center screen to barely in the frame. All without a single word. No cast announcement, no moving on statement, no dramatic exit storyline that fans live for. She didn't say goodbye. She said nothing. And that silence speaks louder than any rant. Look at her timeline. The captions used to be light, even playful. Music video jokes, clapping back at trolls. Promoting the occasional family drama episode with a wink. Now it's inspirational quotes, carefully posed brand deals. Clean, peaceful content, like a filtered apology for everything we were supposed to forget. But you know what's missing? Her castmates. No group photos, no reunion prep shots, Not even a mother-daughter lunch with Becky. And that family usually posts everything. Every Chuck BBQ, every baby shower, every side-eye. The fact that the content feed went from chaotic family drama to solo posts in calm lighting. That's not an accident. That's strategy. When a cast member exits, someone else usually spills. A hint in the background. A shared joke on someone else's feed. Not this time. Even her loudest family members are unusually civilized. The kind of quiet that shows up after a legal warning, not a casual break. Because Libby was always the buffer. She knew when to let Andrei take the heat, but she also knew when to pull him back. So now that things have gone fully silent, for both of them, who made that call? Libby isn't disappearing. She's curating, creating distance between herself and the entire franchise, post by post, and you can feel her reshaping her identity with every caption. Mother, entrepreneur, not ex-reality star, definitely not wife of the band guy. Some fans think she's laying groundwork for a comeback on a new platform, without the TLC baggage. Others think she's in cleanup mode, trying to protect the long-term brand, not just her husband. But the big question still hangs in the gaps of every skipped reunion and scrub tag. Is Libby protecting her family or her NDA? TLC doesn't fear drama. It profits from it. Tantrums, jail records, breakups, full-on physical restraint scenes. Some of the franchise's biggest moments came from the messiest people. And fans didn't look away. They got louder, more invested, more obsessed. So when a couple disappears without explanation, don't assume it's about the drama. It usually means the drama wasn't profitable. Look at the past. Danielle and Mohammed, total meltdown. Fake marriage, courtroom threats, Twitter wars. They got spin-offs. Jeffrey was convicted of domestic abuse, and even that wasn't what got him axed. It was pressure from fans, years later. Even Angela, who's had more screaming matches than emotional breakthroughs, somehow keeps popping up with another slot on the reunion couch. TLC counts on controversy. It builds character arcs around chaos. But there's a line, and the people who quietly vanish, they usually crossed it, not on screen, but off. The franchise has its own rules, but they're unwritten. If you're dramatic but predictable, they'll work with you. If you're chaotic but ratings gold, they'll carry you. But if you become unstable behind the camera, as in difficult to schedule, uncooperative with crew, unpredictable on location, they will silently eject you, fast. That's what makes Andrei and Libby's case so strange. They weren't just popular, they were recognizable, integral, built into the fabric of extended family storylines. They brought international layers, power struggles, and generational beef. Their toddler even became a mini-character. For TLC to cut that storyline mid-arc, knowing it would leave an obvious gap, means something had gone way off track. Because they didn't fade. They were removed. And it's not the first time that's happened. There are quiet exits scattered all over reality TV. Remember Lisa from Usman's season? Or Mark and Nikki's sudden disappearance post-season? Some vanish after lawsuits, others after explosive fights with producers. But one thing's consistent. When cast gets messy outside scheduled chaos, the cleanup happens off-screen. And fans never get the closure. Networks aren't sentimental, they're strategic. Silence isn't a timeout. It's a statement with legal padding. And like all things under contract, it comes without explanation. So ask yourself, what could be so bad that even TLC, the network home to blow-ups and breakdowns, decided to burn the footage and move on? Because if TLC cut them off, that's the real plot twist. In reality, TV conflict is currency, but not all drama pays. Some of it bleeds money, fast. And when it does, it's not the producers scrambling to fix it. It's the accountants, the lawyers, and the insurance adjusters sitting in silence behind the scenes, calculating the damage. Here's what people don't realize. These shows run on razor-thin production schedules. Every filming day is planned to the hour. Flights booked in advance. Equipment rented per city, per scene. If one filming day gets shut down, You're not just delaying content, you're setting fire to the budget. Crew still gets paid, flights still leave, properties still charge for cancellations. That's thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, gone in 24 hours. Now imagine it's not a one-day issue. Imagine it's a pattern. Disrupted shoots, missed call times, damaged relationships with location vendors. Now you're not dealing with production hiccups. You're facing breach territory, especially if the star causing the chaos is under contract with strict cooperation clauses. Producers don't usually go nuclear unless they have to, but insurance providers, way less forgiving. Most reality shows, especially ones like 90 Day Fiancé, with cross-country, even international production, carry specific policies. They cover production delays, crew claims, lost content. But the minute a cast member is cited as the cause, the network might be on the hook. And if a network writes off production days, they calculate potential damages, not based on your rate, but on lost revenue, reshoots, shutdown fees, and risk to future partnerships. That's how you end up with a number that starts to look a lot like seven figures, especially if that disruption leaked across multiple episodes or seasons. Online chatter says $1 million conflict was put on paper, quietly threatened, maybe even filed behind closed doors. Was it a lawsuit, a counterclaim, arbitration? Nobody's confirming it. But here's why people believe it. Because the silence is too clean. Andrei and Libby didn't go rogue on social. No subtweets, no influencer-style complaint rants. No denial, no deflection. They didn't leak texts, drop sarcastic memes, or hint at injustice. Not even their usual soft clapping back. It just is a stopped. That's not damage control. That's legal quiet. The kind that comes with ND as you're scared to breach. Maybe arbitration is ongoing, maybe it's settled. But either way, it fits the pattern of reality TV's least talked about exits. The ones nobody's allowed to address. No press release, no final episode, no spin-off send-off. And that's where the $1 million silence starts to make sense. The last time Andrei and Libby appeared on 90 Day Fiancé, they were mid-conflict, mid-storyline, and mid-franchise relevance. Not background characters, not wrapping things up. They were deep inside a plot about his green card, with unresolved drama waiting to explode. Then, nothing. No confessional updates, no storyline closure. No one even mentioned their names at the next tell-all. Like they'd been wiped from the franchise without a ripple. That wasn't an ending. That was an interruption. Since then, no official TLC content. Not even peripheral features. No guest spots, no collab footage, not a segment on another couple's storyline. Zero. It's like the machine that runs this franchise stopped calling their names overnight. And they didn't call back. So where are they? Libby's social presence says a lot by saying very little. Her feed now looks curated straight out of the influencer mom starter pack. Bright rooms, baby giggles. Captions dipped in positivity. Light on the specifics. You wouldn't even know she was a reality star unless you remembered. She's removed every trace of storyline chaos. No hints to filming. No shows tagged. No usual stay-tuned hints about upcoming appearances. If there's anything behind the scenes, she wants it far, far away from the feed. Andrei's posts are different, but equally strange. Fewer updates, vague motivational quotes, the occasional family photo, but no insights, no jokes, no clapbacks. His silence is louder than hers. It's the kind that doesn't match his past behavior. The Andrei viewers knew liked control, attention, confrontation. The new version looks wrapped in caution tape. No interviews, no sign of rebuilding a solo platform, no podcast circuit, no casual YouTube channel launches. This isn't a couple moving on. They're hiding in plain sight, scrubbing off the polish while maintaining the brand. There's no record of work with other reality outlets. No sightings in spin-off shows. No leaks from former castmates. With a family that overshares on camera and off, this absolute blackout isn't normal. You either have a team of top-tier crisis managers working around the clock, or legal obligations that make communication impossible. Public figures who truly want space take breaks, and post updates. They don't disappear in the middle of unresolved plotlines, skip out on reunion stages, vanish from press cycles, and strip their feeds clean. That's not a casual exit. That's coordinated silence. And the thing about silence in reality TV, it's not usually free. Because when public figures disappear this quietly, they usually don't leave willingly. Fans were waiting for the explosion that never aired. A wedding canceled, a green card revoked, a final family implosion. Something. Anything. Instead, all they got was static. Season ends, no answers, allegiances flipped and storylines tangled, and two of the show's most consistent trouble magnets just stopped existing in the episode schedule. For a franchise that thrives on closure, that silence hit different. There were no last confessions, no breakdowns, no screaming matches during the tell-all, no glammed-up chairs facing off in part 2. The couple who had spent years airing everything closed the curtain and didn't offer a final bow. And for the fans who stuck with every meltdown, every snide lunch table comment, every painfully awkward family meeting, that felt like betrayal. Because if we watched it all, judged it all, debated it all in comment sections and Reddit threads, didn't we deserve the ending? Turns out, reality TV has its own rules, and closure isn't in your contract. Because behind every storyline is a production schedule. Behind every mess is legal fine print. We watched the emotional fallout, but never got to see the business one. And that's the secret most shows don't reveal. The drama you see is carefully engineered. But what you don't see, that's where the money moves. That's where decisions get made about who stays, who gets erased, and who's too big of a risk, even when they're still trending. Andrei and Libby weren't dropped because the story got boring. It didn't. He was still battling immigration. She was still juggling a tense family. They had plenty left to show. They just crossed a line most viewers never realize exists. One that's controlled by executives, legal teams, and reputation managers, not producers looking for good TV. In the end, most fans believed the drama was always for our entertainment. But this story proves not every plotline is meant to be resolved. Some are meant to disappear before they cost too much. TLC didn't make them go quietly for ratings. They likely made them go quietly because they couldn't afford for anyone to notice. The rawest conflict wasn't what we watched. It was what was happening between scenes, behind closed doors, in contracts we'll never see. You weren't shown the final act because you were never supposed to. What really happened to Andrei and Libby? Maybe it was never meant for us to know. And speaking of messy secrets, the fallout between Angela and TLC may be even worse. You won't believe what she called producers off camera.